So we have Carla joining us today, and Carla is our school counselor here at HKA. Carla, can you elaborate a little bit more about your role within the school?
My role is very much about being proactive as well as reactive. So part of my responsibilities are that I go into every classroom in the school, and along with teaching the children the ABCs, I teach them all about social relationships, and along with their 1, 2, 3s, I also teach them about emotional regulation and strategies for their behavior.
Carla is here because we wanted to have a discussion about what's happening around the world at the moment, and thinking about, given the certain crisis that's happening, what is it that we want to be telling our children, or how do we want to approach giving them information, and thinking about that. So do you have some advice, Carla, for us on how parents should be approaching talking to their children about the virus?
Yeah, I think there's around about 5 tips that we could possibly think about and do. I think the first thing is always, when children are asking about these kinds of things, always to tell the truth. I think we do have a tendency sometimes to add a bit of a story or elaborate on it, and I think that it's all about establishing trust. And if the child feels that this isn't the full picture, then a sense of mistrust comes, and that can be quite anxious for the child. So I think number 1 is definitely just stick with the truth. And then I think the next thing is facts. The next tip is definitely get your facts, and then make sure you're getting it from reliable sources, not like the news or necessarily, but absolutely factual, reliable sources. Yeah, and I think that leads to sort of the 3rd tip, is that when you are giving these facts to our children, you do wonder, well, how much should I actually give? How much do I tell them? And I think when it comes to those situations, the best guide is the child. Like, children will ask questions to satisfy their own curiosity, and our answers really need to match that curiosity. And usually you give them one answer, and that's enough for them, and then they'll go away, and they might come back later with another question, but it's just to satisfy their curiosity.
Okay.
And I reckon you can also create a safety and create a language yourself that says to the child, you know what, I don't know the answer to that question right now, but making that promise and giving them the security that, but you know what, I'm going to find out an answer for it, and I'm going to get back to you. Or even taking it another step further and going, yeah, that's a good question. Why don't we go and find out this information together?
Okay, so I think that's really helpful. I think there are so many amazing resources out there, and we hope to share some of those with our families here at HKA, because we want to make the most of that. And I think reading a story that has maybe an animal as the main character, a child can relate to that animal going through something, and so that's really helpful for a child to see it through the eyes of something they can relate to, a character of some kind. So sometimes those resources are really helpful. They help children to see that perspective.
Yep, absolutely.